Belinda Gray is the biological grandmother of Jack and Lily, and that is through Cody, their father. And I've said it before, I think it's very irresponsible, very shameless, and very, how do I say this? Well, I, there's a reason I have never shared anything this character claimed about Malehya's family hiding the children. I find this to be a very cool joke. And if you have a YouTube channel or any type of reach, I think it is very important to censor ourselves in terms of not saying, hey, let's get some attention here and post somebody's complete lie, but say, you know what, I'm on the right track here. And I'm not going to get sidetracked by something that is obviously only designed to get the heat off of Daniel. I even have a hard time mentioning this person's name, this person's fake name. But again, it is not so different from the green hoodie thing, right? When at night claimed that there's, and so people now have this in language, yellow coat, green hoodie, and they get lost in somebody else's lies. And the more the more that people hear the same lie, the more likely they are going to believe it. Well, maybe 70-80% of the population, right? There's always the rest of us that's like looking at society kind of like from the outside looking in, thinking, I can't believe people are eating this up. And this is one of those situations. And it's very, very easy for me to detect. And I didn't need to, for example, do too much to understand that Daniel's private messages were real. It doesn't take too much for me to recognize when somebody's completely lying. And when I realize what somebody's intentions are and they are to sidetrack me, then it's my responsibility not to go there. So, as I've said, I always, I am baffled by just, what, well, having said what I just said, it is absolutely 100% understandable that Belinda Gray, the biological grandmother of Jack and Lily, wouldn't be able to let things rest. Meaning, she said it from the very beginning. This story is full of holes, full of lies. I would love to believe it. I would love to believe that my children, my grandchildren, are somewhere hidden on a reservation. I would love to believe that, they are still alive somewhere and there was just a family based abduction. But no, she can't believe it. So, either way, she still reached out to. I don't even. I see when I see all these accusations of racism, and I don't even know what to. When she reached out to the reservation people, right, or whoever or whatever they want to be called, it is understandable. It is absolutely understandable for somebody's mind to race when your children, grandchildren are missing. It is not expected for somebody to say, I looked everywhere. What you are more likely to do, you're much more likely to pay attention to what you even know to be a lie, but you want to make double sure. The 1 in a billion chances that the story could have been true wouldn't let her rest. So what she did, she contacted the chief, Michelle Glasgow of Indian Brock. And I have seen on another channel only parts of it. I've seen parts of an interview. Sorry, I have seen only parts of the conversation. It started with a phone conversation. Belinda called them, and then later she texted, emailed, what have you. And well, you can see all this, and I don't even want to entertain this kind of accusation and this kind of nonsense because Belinda did what she did in order to eliminate any doubt. As in, I know this is baloney, this is complete garbage, but can you guys please confirm to me that the children are not there on the reservation? Well, and that woman said, you called me asking if we have the children. Do you know how stupid that's? Well, she needs to do a little bit more due diligence, I think, before she attacks Belinda, who is distraught over her grandchildren not being there. But I think it's very, you know, I think you can read it. And I don't want to dignify her reply either. So, yeah, I hold accountable the people who promote lies when they know they are lies just to make a name for themselves. But I cannot fault Belinda at all for saying, I want to. No. Can you please confirm to me that there is nothing to this claim? And she said she made a big mistake. She realized I made a big mistake. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. So if your children are missing, I mean, and your neighbor, Mr. Smith says, well, I saw UFO landing and taking them the night of the disappearance. Well, what would you do? What would you think? Of course, you would think it's nonsense, a cruel joke. But maybe, just maybe, you would go to Google and find out how to contact aliens, or what do aliens want from us? Who knows? Who knows? Your mind may go there. Because while it is a strong indicator when you say, I have looked everywhere for my missing children, that you know where they are, what happened to them. Otherwise, you wouldn't say, I looked everywhere. You would think about any remote possibility where they could be. It would be impossible for you to say that. You can say, okay, you would even double check wherever you looked, you would want to look again. Well, maybe now they're here. Maybe now they're hiding here. Maybe they were not there, but who knows? They probably moved around. These kinds of things will race through your mind. So this part I'm sharing because I hadn't seen the beginning before, and I guess it was there was a previous email from Belinda to her, and before that, I think there was a phone conversation. But the bottom line is they're saying, no, there are no children hidden here. Period. If somebody publicly used your name and stated such and such, you and you are lying, would you reply, and what would your reply be? So, if you were in the shoes of Daniel's mother and somebody says, well, she's lying, what would you do? Would you want to find out what exactly this person is alleging that you lied about? As in, excuse me, what do you think I'm lying about? I wasn't lying. There would be a reliable denial. There would be a demand for clarification. Everybody lies sometimes, and and people who lie all the time, well, they don't lie all the time. They tell the truth sometimes. So for me, any type of labeling is a form of escapism. This is a liar. This is not a liar. Well, guess what? The not liar will lie to you at some point. And sometimes the liar will tell you the truth. Labeling is a very easy thing. I think it's also a stupid thing. And I stay far away from that because I have to look at every single statement coming my way with the assumption they're going to tell me the truth, and I let them talk me out of it, which they always do. So remember when Daniel was, when Daniel talked about these crazy online conversations and assumptions or speculations, and he said, well, what he didn't say was they are false. He didn't tell us that, and I said from the beginning. Actually, I went ahead of myself here, but we need a reliable denial, a demand for clarification. No, I wasn't lying. What the hell do you think I'm lying about? What was I lying about? But Janie doesn't say that. She says, I think you should get to know me before you call me a liar. She didn't say you are a liar, but this is part of her trying to make somebody feel guilty of a reasonable accusation and tries to make the public in general feel guilty for wanting to know more. How dare you call me a liar? That's not what she did. I think Daniel is lying, and so is Daniel's mom. I agree. I don't only think Daniel is lying, I know he's lying. As for Daniel's mom, well, I think you have gotten my message 3 videos ago. I think you should get to, so the requirement for anybody would be to get to know her first. And believe me, she wouldn't let me get to know her. I can already tell that. So she is not denying that she lied. There is not a reliable denial here. And it's not so different from Daniel saying, oh, people online making crazy accusations. Well, tell me the accusations are false. That's what I need to hear from you. People said I had something to do with it. I did not have anything to do with it. That's what I'm looking for, the reliable denial. Not going oot in the boot about who knows what, about people always have their opinions and blah blah blah. No, it's very simple. You just have to tell me that the allegations are not true. And Janie McKenzie, who is Daniel's mother, failed to do that. And there were a couple more comments over here. One lady said, how do we get to know you? Are you open to chat? It's not a bad reply because she doesn't want you to get to know her. She's only telling you that because you haven't gotten to know her, you shouldn't make any accusations or call her a liar. She doesn't even say you shouldn't make accusations because she knows how ludicrous this sounds. So she uses this label and the accusation of you're calling me a liar. That's not what she did. We are talking about the specific statements that she has made, which I also believe are lies. And she's talking about what I mean, I don't want to give that woman the time of day, talking about herself, only about herself, nothing about Jack and Lily. And I believe she knows exactly what happened to Jack and Lily. And she had a big problem with Lily because Lily's screaming was said of her dog. And she doesn't want to tell us that there's another dog, a much bigger one than the little Yorkshire. So all three of these know, in my opinion, exactly what took place, which is why these two, Justin and Janie, they didn't appear on camera. They didn't call into any show. Only once in a while. You see, she's feeling the heat and realizing that people don't look at her the same way anymore. The same like with Kathy Bowersox, who feels the need to talk online and make a few statements here and there because it has an impact. That's why these types of people fear people online so much, because people discuss freely and share information that the RCMP isn't releasing. Of course, there's a lot of garbage out there too. But when you only focus on the garbage and what's easy to dismiss, then you are not interested in finding the children. Same with Chris Proudfoot. He's focusing on whatever is false, whatever assumptions are absolutely false. And it's easy for him to do because he knows what happened, in my opinion. What you would do if you're the parent of a missing child, you want your children back, and you don't have any idea what happened to your kids, what you would do is look for the possibilities. You would look for the ideas. You would look for anything that could give you answers to where your children are. And sometimes even complete nonsense, which is what Belinda did. She paid attention to, she said it in the very beginning. This is, no, there's nothing to it. There are inconsistencies. It's absolutely wrong. But when you're by yourself and or not necessarily by yourself, but when you're, in your room at night and you're thinking about all the possibilities, what could have happened to my grandchildren? And the YouTube channels and most of the audience pay attention to a bunch of garbage, total lies, you will get these thoughts like, well, maybe there could be something to it. I just want to make sure. I cannot dismiss this anymore. This is understandable simply because of the hormonal reaction to everything that's been happening, the need for answers. Even though she thinks the kids are no longer alive, the need for answers is so strong that she will put herself in this position to not care how stupid it sounds. And by the way, that uh, Mick Mac lady, she didn't even, Michelle Glasgow, she didn't even do any due diligence to understand how Belinda, where she may be coming from, right? It wasn't her randomly accusing them and thinking they like to abduct children. That was absolutely not what Belinda's agenda was. She didn't have any agenda other than wanting to find out where her grandchildren are. And as you will see, the criming shamers, they continue to milk the story. The non-story, that is. But we are used to this from the Chris Proudfoot case, right? Which is actually the Sebastian Rogers case, but it's become all about Chris Proudfoot. So now here's another channel, Daphne's Case Files. I have skipped the last one because my idiot reader sort of went off. And so I don't believe in saying, well, what I'm about to show you is probably complete garbage, but let me show it to you anyways because I have nothing to talk about other than that. Or I haven't done any type of research, so let me go for the easy. That's not what interests me. That would be actually a lot more work for me to be deceptive like that if, I don't believe, if I did something that I don't believe in. It's a lot harder to do. It would be much easier, and it is a lot easier for me to actually research because that's my interest, to find out what happened. So I talked about the pink blanket before. I haven't watched it. I hope she won't say too many things that I have already said because it would be boring for you. But hey, maybe you missed my video. And if anything, with her, I can add some visuals that may make it easier to listen.
Hey internet friends, welcome back. So today I have a special video for...
Hey internet friends. Well, not everybody's my friend, but hey guys, you know who you are.
for you. We are going to be going over the police dispatch of Lily's pink blanket. Yes, the mysterious pink blanket that was found on land.
And I hate the term mysterious, I really do, because it's just there to make it more appealing. But a mystery, there's no such thing as a mystery. There's a solved case, an unsolved case, and a partially solved case. And there are also wrongly solved cases, of course. Innocent people go to prison all the time. And guilty people get acquitted all of the time. But when you introduce mystery, you make it sound like a supernatural thing, which it isn't.
Lansdowne Station Road, the day police were searching for missing Jack and Lily Sullivan. Now, Daniel Martell has stated that Lily's pink blanket was used to hang up in the window. I guess as a curtain, who knows? But then it was...
And then it disappeared into the woods and later on in the garbage. I've already talked about this, remember?
Placed in a trash bag and somehow magically floated down to Lansdowne Station Road. So, before we get started, we are also going to be talking about a timeline. The timeline that my friend and I have been working on. Now, it's updated to the best of our knowledge from recent articles, news shows, and also from the RCMP. Also, there are some statements in there that have been added from Durwood and other family members.
Oh, God. No, you're not.
Now, before we get started, make sure to hit that. Daniel wouldn't reply back to me.
Make sure, let me guess, make sure to hit the like button for Lily and Jack, right?
So, I have those questions because there are so many gray areas in this timeline. And what about the day before? The day before, I'm really concerned with as well.
And to make this very clear, I much rather move slowly but surely. Meaning, I am not going to be responsible for you guys being sidetracked with anything that has absolutely no importance here.
Tell you why. Now, we know that it was said by the RCMP that Jack and Lily Sullivan were seen out in public, basically in the afternoon time, around Highland Square Mall. Now, it wasn't at the mall, as Daniel Martell has...
She sounds like William Shatner, right? Highland Jane Mall.
Confirmed with me, but it was around that vicinity. And his co-worker was there, I guess, confirmed with the RCMP as well. So,
and Daniel felt the need to mention that too. So it's interesting that Daniel, even though he said that they have video of Jack and Lily that Thursday night, that he also feels the need to tell us that his co-worker can attest to it, and he has talked to his co-worker out in the parking lot. He needs support. He wants support from people. It bothers him that he doesn't have that much support. And so anybody who might be on his side, he wants to mention, even though they would mention something that we already know. If there's a video of you, Jack and Lily, and Malehya and Meadow, and you realize how I mentioned him first, and then I mentioned Jack and Lily. When he mentioned who was there, he mentioned Jack and Lily last. Meadow and Malehya were first. Jack and Lily to him, I believe, were baggage. Not a priority. Any.
My question is, what did Lily and Jack have for dinner? This was not stated at all.
That's not important. That's not important at all.
Nothing was said what happened that night. Now, there's been rumors there was a party, but that has not been confirmed. But
his statement was pretty reliable, right? No, not that night. Were people over? No, not that night. Maybe the night before, maybe 2 nights before. Well, I believe him that the night Jack and Lily went missing, there was no party.
the neighbor did say they did see a bunch of cars there. They couldn't remember if it was Wednesday night or Thursday
In that case, I would say it was Wednesday night.
night. So what do you guys think?
Oh, God.
Now, I'm curious because nothing was said about Jack and Lily Thursday night. The only thing that we have that is pretty much confirmed is that Janie was out filling potholes that night. That's it. There was no statement given. Hey, the kids ate dinner. We played a board game. They got their baths, and we put them to bed. Nothing. Nothing was said at all. You'd think if the children were...
Okay, so here we go. Interesting part. Yes, I don't care what they had for dinner at the restaurant, but there was also, Malehya said she saw them the night before the last time. But at no point does she fill us in. What took place? Were they getting ready for bed? Were they still coughing? How about you tell us a little bit more about the cough? Did you check if they were safe and warm that night? Did you make sure they're under a thick blanket so maybe they can, whatever illness they maybe can sweat it out, or just to make sure, did you give them some cough medicine? Did you think about, well, guys, what do you think? You feel better now? Do you think tomorrow morning you can go to school? Nothing about getting them ready for bed. Nothing about getting them dressed for bed. What were they wearing to sleep? And I bet you anything that whatever they disappeared in was whatever they went to sleep in. And this is an area that she wants to avoid.
There that night, they would have had a nightly routine or something going on, but nothing.
Then again, she was neglectful with them. But still, you would do the basics. If not her, maybe Daniel. Here are your clothes. Get changed. Jack, go in the bathroom, take your pull-up off. Here's another one. Or, whatever, however they handled that. But that was, you remember when he said Jack wouldn't keep a pull-up on for that long? I believe Janie had a huge issue with Lily, her screaming, setting off the dog in her house. And I also believe that Daniel had a huge issue with Jack and his pull-up. Specifically, him not keeping the pull-up on for that long. This is coming from experiential memory, because I believe that Jack probably not getting changed for hours, having a pull-up that's full already, may have at times taken his pull-up off on his own because he was uncomfortable. And he feels the need to tell us how Belinda didn't do anything for the kids or with the kids, right? So maybe it would have been Daniel's role to get him a fresh pull-up, and he probably hated it. It was a huge issue for him. That's why he feels the need to mention that, when he didn't mention what the kids may have had on when they disappeared. and didn't want to tell you what they had on because they had on exactly what they went to sleep in. So the problem here is that they are avoiding talking about the night before at all. Have you noticed that? They refuse to talk about anything other than they have been seen on camera, they went to eat somewhere, right? Or they went to the mall. Nothing after that. You would think, okay, we came home, we did some homework, we brushed our teeth, I gotten them ready, I said good night, I love you, and they were still coughing, and then I put them to bed, and within a few minutes they were out, they were, asleep, but none of that. They are avoiding to tell us anything that happened the night before, because that is the crucial time. That's when I believe it all came down. That's when happened what happened. So I'm skipping to this part, not giving anybody the time of day when I already realize they are lying. And their intention is to mislead us. And I hope you guys don't share anything with Darewood in it. Seriously, do yourself the favor and do your followers on social media the favor that you, even though it's, cheap entertainment for some people, if you do that, you will only attract gossipers. You will attract the types of people that only look at, try to kill time, entertain themselves on the cost of two missing kids. So it's easy to say, well, he posted that, or they had this person on, and they had Dolly Vision on their channel, and as a statement analyst, and by the way, if you're interested in upcoming classes here on YouTube, you can email me. It will be ready soon. And there we're going to get into a lot more detail. And I will keep it a little bit lighter here on the public side, because not everybody is interested after a hard day's work to get. Well, actually, people are interested I would be interested, even if this wasn't what I do. I would be more interested in having facts and then, sometimes allowing myself to listen a little bit and then stopping, and maybe then the next day it would come into my mind, okay, I want to hear more now. But what I'm doing is, don't hate the media, be the media. The same goes for YouTube channels in general. When I realized that people are getting more confused than informed, that's when I realized I got a job to do, people. And that's why I'm here. So this particular point, she's absolutely correct about, that we should have heard a lot. Especially Malehya. Okay, she doesn't want to give interviews, but we have read a lot of her private messages. And if the night before, was the last time she saw her two children alive, then you would think that anything happened that night was imprinted in her brain, and a memory she cannot let go of, and a memory she cannot stop talking about. That's something that is missing, and the reason is avoidance. PLAIDS, priorities, leakage, avoidance, intentions, deception, and sensitivities. And avoidance is exactly what it is. What do people avoid? What are they talking too much of? What are they not talking enough of, or not at all of? So,
Waking up the next day, which would have been Friday morning.
well, we had a BS story about that morning, right? That they kept sleeping in and out. We were in, no, but again, that is all a lie. But Yes, I want to hear from Daniel. If you have have access to Daniel or Malaya, and many of you who do have, watch this channel, say, what happened the night before? What happened the evening before? Just ask like that. How did the evening go after you came back from the mall? Can you tell me? Because, you can say whatever. I want to see if there's something that's, whatever. You don't have to say anything. But please do me a favor, because I see all of these people, including this one podcast on TikTok that where there's so much dead air. They have Cheryl on there, they have Haley on there, and woman is running out of questions. So if you have access to these people, I think, yeah, I messaged Logan one time, and the reply was sort of expected, like, who are you, or what the hell do you want? Not what the hell, but who are you, what do you want? But I figured, you know what, I will be much better analyzing statements that she gives to people who she thinks are on her side. And, people know who I am in that circle. And so my name would already cause them to be defensive, which is the last thing that you want somebody to be. I know I have private investigators listening to me. And you want them to tell you what they want to tell you, even if they're avoiding things. We can point this out. You want them to start wherever they choose to start and never be defensive in an ideal situation. Of course, as time goes by, they will get defensive because it'll come through, what you think, what you're getting towards, what you ask more and more questions about. But in the very beginning, ask a harmless question. What happened that night? Please do that if you have access to him. And send me his reply. And it's going to be in his message request, maybe, and maybe he's going to look at it. I'm sure his message request is full of, you know, um, attempts to get in touch with him. And I don't believe in ambush detective work at all. I rather step back and stop talking. So I don't believe in this strategy. I know you did it. What are you hiding? No, 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 no. Just tell me what happened the night before. Was everything okay? Was everything normal? Did they still cough? Did you think they would go to school in the morning? Simple questions to answer so we can see where the avoidances are. Let's move on, guys.
Saying we ate breakfast, we got
And again, I want to clarify it. Well, I'll do it later.
them washed up, took a walk outside.
No, this is garbage because we already know about that morning. We need to get straight to the night before. We've heard their deceptive statements about the morning, right? Sure. Malehya said she hasn't seen them since the night before, so we know that Malehya was not worried about getting them up. Who made breakfast? Did you make breakfast for them? Do you normally make breakfast for them? What do you do for them in the morning? Around what time do you get up? Is it normal that your children are, what time was it? What was supposed to be? 9:40? When you finally realized, oh, I don't hear the children? Which, of course, the children were already gone. What happened the night before. around the time that Janie felt the need to go into the pitch black night and fill in the potholes. But what is your regular pattern? So if we're talking about a school day, what is your pattern? And let's just say you decided the night before, and again, this is nonsense. But even if the children were sick, what would be your pattern on the weekends when they don't have to go to school? What time do you get up? Do you make breakfast for them, give them something, and then go back to sleep? I mean, I don't see how, because I don't think children should ever be left alone for a long time. Not that age. Even though Lily was probably filling in the motherly role that Malehya didn't take on with them anymore. But the absence of any kind of information, even the attempt to give us the information, indicates avoidance, which indicates too much work coming up with a script for that one. Daniel only saw Lily, so we know, but he didn't, of course. But so we know they didn't make breakfast for them. If we were to believe their Kakumemi stories, they wouldn't have done anything for them. Change the pull-up, get them dressed, get washed up, brush their teeth, make breakfast. No, none of that. None of that. They just slept to 9:40. That's what they want us to believe, right? The kids wake up whenever they wake up. Jack wouldn't keep his pull-up on for too long. But you see, this in itself is a huge red flag already. This type of avoidance.
Nothing. But it was supposedly raining, so I guess you can't just walk outside unless you like.
Yeah. That wouldn't be. Anyways, oh my God.
Walking or running around in the rain, each to their own. So
To each their
this
own.
timeline is very important, in my opinion, and I'm just curious to why there's so many gray areas that can't be answered. Now let's get started with the police dispatch call when they found the pink blanket. And I have a special ending for you guys. And
Oh, wow.
it's really kind of interesting if you listen to it. So stay tuned.
Info copy. Sergeant, you're on from getting him. Go ahead. Families brought us to a location there, not far away, that there's a piece of a blanket, which...
That would be Malehya's family, right? Cheryl, Haley, Malehya, and I don't know, was Malehya there too? Did she also look there, or did she just stand around somewhere else? Which the mother says she believes it belongs to her daughter. So Malehya immediately said, this belongs to her daughter. This is her daughter's blanket. Ain't that something?
The mother says she believes it belongs to her daughter. It's just off the road here. I don't know if you do PU status, you'll see where...
So for how long was this blanket used to cover up the window? Let me guess, for a very long time. But around the time when Jack and Lily disappeared, magically, it wound up somewhere completely different. No surprise.
Bravo 3 and Bravo 8 are. Yeah, it'll be just off the Lansdowne Road, off the 289. Did we say we found an article? Possibly. There's a couple other pieces of old clothing here.
Uh-oh. I didn't know that before. What types of clothing?
Just torn, like pieces of rag, but there is a side of the road. Our fancy helicopter.
There's a what?
You see the F-250, there's a truck in the side of the road.
There's a what?
just torn, like pieces of rag, but there is a side of the road.
A piece of what? That's also interesting. We know 2 of Daniel's shirts were missing, right? So they were probably used as well for something that day. Because Malehya didn't even come back for her car. When did she steal your shirts, Daniel? Or let me make it clearer. That was something that was a message to Malehya. As in, we both know what happened to the shirts. So if you say, I didn't steal, well, Malehya is taking the high road on these things anyways. She has nothing to say. Sorry, I'm reading some of you guys' messages here. Interesting, right?
See the F-250, there's a truck and the SUV. Yeah, pretty much directly in front of you, sir. That's blanket. Yeah, 10-4, we're coming up to it there.
Okay, what am I looking at here?
Okay, now that we listened to that clip, I'm going to let you listen to something else. The next clip has to do with the black SUV from dispatch, okay? And then...
Logan drives a black SUV, I believe. Let's hear it.
And the clip after that is Durwood talking about Malehya and the black SUV. Stay tuned.
I don't want to hear that.
And all stations, just ordering a black SUV just north of the residence and on the left side of the road.
Well, it doesn't have to be Logan's, but I believe Logan drives a black SUV. At the side of the road.
Does not appear to be a CRV, but it is a black SUV. If anybody wants to come up and have a look at that, just under the helicopter here now, if you guys have visual on it. Bravo 3 drove by that on my way in as a Kia Sportage, Delta Papa Uniform 468. I didn't run it, but there was nobody in it. I'm right here, I'll check it. Yeah, we got that. There are two, looks like 2 individuals walking down towards the lake ahead of the vehicle. And there's a cabin at the end of the lake.
Okay, now that you heard that clip, I want you to listen to this next clip.
Finish off what happened. And the piece of
Please don't. Please don't. Please spare me.
Because she was the only...
Please spare me. Thank you. Spare me.
Time. So it had
Okay, guys, now that I've overloaded you...
No, don't patronize people. You overloaded me only with garbage that I shouldn't have to listen to. So anything Durwood says is a no-no to me. Period. I mean, how much does it take for people to finally realize they've been fooled? It's easier to fool people than convince them that they have been fooled, or prove to them. Convince them that they have been fooled. People don't want to admit that and don't want to abandon their previous train of thought because they would have to say, well, I wasted 5 hours listening to somebody else talking about something that only led me further away from the truth. So I'm ready for a lot more, actually. There's no such thing as an overload, but I think it's very interesting about the torn clothing items. Did he say the clothing items were found around the same area? Again, there's a partial
piece of a blanket, which The mother says she believes it belongs to her daughter. It's just off the road here. I don't know if you live.
And yeah, I do believe Daniel planted this into the garbage. Let me say it like this. There's a reason he felt the need to call the RCMP about another piece of the blanket being found in the garbage. But let's hear really quickly about the clothing items.
WPU status, you'll see where Bravo 3 and Bravo 8 are. Yeah, we just have to lay them down.
And again, how far away was the blanket found exactly? I thought it was 1 or 2 miles away, which is far. But I don't think so, right? If anybody can clarify it, that would be great.
That was off the 289. Did we say we found an article? Possibly. There's a couple other pieces of
old clothing. Well, it could have been here. Here. She said here. He said here. So was it close to the blanket? Was it not just the blanket, but other stuff too? I'm surprised we haven't heard more about this, but then again, the RCMP isn't really interested in talking, but maybe if I will find out more about this for next time, people, because this is something we shouldn't overlook, and this is exactly the danger. She brings this up, and then it goes to Durwood, right? So that's how we overlook important pieces. And remember, the blanket thing was brought up 2 months ago. But this is how it works. That the people who have something to hide, they want to sidetrack everybody. And so what I don't want is this to turn into another Sebastian Rudders case. I don't think it will. But there's always that danger. Especially when police are pushed into the corner where they have to answer a lot of lies. Which is exactly why people like Chris Proudfoot and Daniel Martell want every single thing to be called into police. They want to waste their time with things that are not important, because then they don't have time for the important things, and that may delay an arrest and a solution and answers. So buying themselves time is very often the strategy, and it can work. It can absolutely work. And I hope in this video you guys I've put things into the proper perspective, because I think there's much too much mishandling in the public of this case. And we need to find out what happened to Jack and Lily. So if you have any type of information, email me. I am firetown@gmail.com. Leave a comment below. Let me know if there's anything I missed. Let me know especially if there was any type of information in the very beginning that maybe I haven't heard, simply because I came like a day late, not half a day late into the case. The same way I talked about the pre-interview with Duchess, right? In the Sebastian Rudders case. There are things that I have missed, unfortunately. And so while people discuss a lot of things online, we discuss a lot of things that are, not helpful, I'm always surprised that I have dozens of people tell me, yes, I heard the pre-interview, but I didn't think about just clicking on my phone and recording it, right? So the best thing for me is to get information that I haven't paid attention to or have missed before, even if it seems insignificant, or your mind tells you, no, that's nothing, I don't want to bother you with this. And that's what I hear from reasonable people all the time. Well, maybe it's just all in my mind. But the unreasonable people, they will bring anything to your attention. Did you hear what Derwood said? Oh, dude, I'm not going to reply to it. You know what I mean? But people it is important for the reasonable people to be vocal. At least be vocal on my channel. and allow real information to flow. We are not here to crack everything, to crack the case in one day, necessarily. But we are far ahead of anybody else, except the RCMP and the people in the know, and of course, Daniel, Malehya, Justin, and Janie, in my opinion, who know what happened. So we got to keep moving forward. Don't pay attention to anybody trying to make their channel more entertaining. And, if you listen, like obviously I'm listening to this channel, but I'm not a sheep, and neither should either anybody be. So just because they decide to talk about something that is actually, leading away from the process of investigation, doesn't mean that you have to. I thank you guys very much, and I see you next time.